Donald Trump has gone head-to-head with a CNN reporter again. This time, the target was Kaitlan Collins.
And this should have been done by Biden years ago. This should have never been allowed to happen. I know he's a friend of yours.
But couldn't Putin just withdraw his...
He's a friend of
today?
CNN. That's why nobody watches CNN anymore, because they have no credibility. Okay, who else? Yes, please.
Trump was not impressed with the pushy reporter, and when he did finally get to questions from the press, he made a point to skip over Collins.
Okay. Go ahead, please.
You won the White House in part.
Go ahead, please.
Mr. President, you are meeting Prime Minister Modi of India.
Yes.
Online commentators were in hysterics with the spectacle. This person said she should probably be left out of the pool for a while for not following the Oval Office etiquette. This commentator agreed, saying, "Love how President Trump stands up to fake news. He's not afraid to call out their biased reporting and interrupting tactics, keeping them in check, one fiery response at a time." But Trump wasn't done. The president doubled down, blasting CNN.
Mr. President, you won the White House in part because of high inflation. If your tariffs make prices go up...
Excuse me, we haven't asked you to speak yet, please. Right?
And he still wasn't done. Trump even managed to take a swipe at Collins during a rant about Mitch McConnell.
RFK Jr. as the next health secretary, citing conspiracy theories. What's your reaction to that?
Well, I feel sorry for Mitch. And I was one of the people that led. He wanted to go to the end, and he wanted to stay leader. He's not equipped mentally. He wasn't equipped 10 years ago mentally, in my opinion. He'd let the Republican Party go to hell. If I didn't come along, the Republican Party wouldn't even exist right now. Mitch McConnell never really had it. He had an ability to raise money because of his position as leader, which anybody could do. You could do it even, and that's saying a lot.
This was not the first time Trump and Collins had a face-off. The pair have had a history of tension.
But that's the question that investigators have, I think, is why you held on to those documents when you knew the federal government was seeking them and then had given you a subpoena to return them.
Are you ready? Are you ready? Can I talk?
Yeah, what's the
mind?
answer?
Do you mind?
I would like for you to answer the question.
Okay, it's very simple to answer.
That's why I asked it.
It's very simple to... You're a nasty person, I'll tell you.
And it's not only Trump who is shutting down Collins and her mainstream media counterparts. Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt gave a stark warning to Collins as well.
Which White House official made the decision to bar the AP reporter from the Oval Office and the diplomatic reception room last night?
Well, first of all, let me just set the record straight. It is a privilege to cover this White House. It's a privilege to be the White House press secretary. And nobody has the right to go into the Oval Office and ask the President of the United States questions. That's an invitation that is given. And there are hundreds of outlets on this campus, many of you in this room who don't have the privilege of being part of that pool every single day and getting to ask the President questions. We reserve the right to decide who gets to go into the Oval Office, and you all have credentials to be here, including the Associated Press, who is in this briefing room today.
But isn't it retaliatory in nature is the argument, because the reason that the AP was barred, which they said was because they're not using the phrase Gulf of America, they're using Gulf of Mexico in line with their standards. And so the question here is this setting a precedent that this White House will retaliate against reporters who don't use the language that you guys believe reporters should use? And how does that align with the First Amendment commitment that you were just talking about?
I was very upfront in my briefing on day one that if we feel that there are lies being pushed by outlets in this room, we are going to hold those lies accountable. And it is a fact that the body of water off the coast of Louisiana is called the Gulf of America. And I'm not sure why news outlets don't want to call it that, but that is what it is.
This commentator doubled down on Leavitt's warning, saying, "You need some lessons in protocol and probably a manners class. Being in the Oval Office is privilege. I hope your disrespect of our president is not overlooked and there are consequences. CNN must not support your insubordination."